The detective who solved the impossible case. The rain fell hard over the city of Blackstone. Streetlights flickered through the storm, casting pale yellow reflections across the empty roads. Somewhere in the distance, a police siren screamed before fading into silence. Inside the old Blackstone Police Department, Detective Ethan Cole sat alone in his office. A half-empty coffee cup rested beside stacks of unsolved files. Ethan was known for solving cases nobody else could crack. Murders, disappearances, kidnappings, he had seen it all. But tonight, something felt different. A knock echoed at his office door. "Come in," Ethan said. Captain Morales stepped inside, holding a thick black folder. "You need to see this." Ethan looked up. Morales placed the folder on the desk carefully. No fingerprints. No witnesses. Locked room. And the victim. Morales paused. Was dead before the killer supposedly entered the house. Ethan slowly opened the folder. Inside was a photograph of a wealthy businessman named Victor Langston. Dead. Eyes wide open. A chess piece placed on his chest. The Black King. Ethan narrowed his eyes. "This happened tonight?" Morales nodded. "And there's one more thing." "What?" "The security cameras show nobody entering or leaving the mansion." Silence filled the room. Ethan leaned back slowly. "Impossible," he whispered. Morales looked at him seriously. "That's exactly why I brought it to you." Chapter 1, The Mansion. 30 minutes later, Ethan arrived at Langston Manor. The massive mansion stood on a hill overlooking the city, surrounded by iron gates and heavy fog. Police officers moved around the property while forensic teams searched for clues. Ethan entered the bedroom where Victor's body still lay. The room was untouched. The windows were locked from the inside. The door had been bolted shut. No signs of struggle. No forced entry. Nothing. A young officer approached him. "Cause of death appears to be poison." Ethan crouched beside the body. Victor's face showed terror. As if he had seen death coming. Ethan examined the chess piece carefully. "Did Victor play chess?" he asked. "Yes," the officer replied. "He was obsessed with it." Ethan stood up and looked around the room. Bookshelves. Antique paintings. A fireplace. Then his eyes stopped. The chessboard near the window. Mid-game, one piece missing. The Black King. The same piece found on Victor's chest. Ethan walked toward the board slowly. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. He studied the arrangement carefully. Then suddenly, he smiled. "Interesting." The officer looked confused. "You found something?" Ethan pointed at the board. The killer made a mistake. Chapter 2, The Family Secrets. Victor Langston had 3 people living in the mansion. His wife, Eleanor. His younger brother, Daniel. And his personal assistant, Clara Hayes. Ethan interviewed Eleanor first. She sat calmly in the library, dressed in black despite the murder happening only hours ago. "Did your husband have enemies?" Ethan asked. Eleanor gave a cold smile. Victor collected enemies the way other people collect art. "What about family problems?" Her expression darkened. "You should ask Daniel." Daniel Langston looked nervous from the moment Ethan entered the room. Sweat covered his forehead. "You think I killed my brother?" Daniel snapped. "I think you're hiding something." Daniel looked away. Finally he sighed. "Victor planned to cut me out of the company. Motive for murder. I didn't kill him." "Where were you between 9 and 10 p.m.? "In my room." "Can anyone confirm that?" Daniel stayed silent. Ethan wrote something in his notebook. Then he left. Clara Hayes was different. Calm. Sharp. Too sharp. She answered every question perfectly. almost rehearsed. Victor trusted you? Ethan asked. Yes. Did he trust his family? Clara hesitated. No. That single pause caught Ethan's attention. Before leaving, Ethan noticed something strange on Clara's wrist. A tiny burn mark. Fresh. Chapter 3, The Impossible Detail. Back at the crime scene, Ethan stared again at the chessboard. Something about it bothered him deeply. Then he saw it. The white queen was in the wrong position. Ethan quickly recreated the board in his notebook. If Victor had really been playing the game himself, the final move made no sense. Unless someone moved the pieces after his death. Ethan rushed to the security room. The footage showed Victor entering his bedroom at exactly 8:42 p.m. No one entered after that. But Ethan noticed something almost invisible. At 9:13 p.m., one camera flickered for less than 1 second. Most people would never notice. Ethan replayed it again. And again. Then he froze the frame. There. A shadow. Someone wearing a hood. Not entering the mansion. Leaving it. Through the hallway connected to the old servant passage. A hidden corridor. Ethan smiled slightly. The impossible case, he whispered, just became possible. Chapter 4, The Truth. The hidden passage led directly behind Victor's fireplace. The killer had used it to enter and leave the locked room. But Ethan still needed proof. He gathered everyone in the mansion's main hall. Rain thundered outside. The atmosphere felt suffocating. Ethan stood near the fireplace. One of you murdered Victor Langston. Daniel looked terrified. Eleanor remained expressionless. Clara folded her arms silently. Ethan continued. The killer poisoned Victor's drink before entering the hidden passage. After Victor died, the killer staged the chessboard to confuse investigators. He walked slowly toward Clara. But the killer made 3 mistakes. Clara's eyes narrowed. The first mistake was moving the white queen incorrectly. The second mistake was the burn mark. Clara instinctively touched her wrist. Ethan noticed. The hidden passage contains old steam pipes. One recently overheated. You burned yourself escaping. Clara said nothing. And the third mistake. Ethan pulled out a photograph. The security camera flickered. Silence. Then Clara laughed softly. A cold, chilling laugh. You're smarter than I expected, detective. Daniel stared in shock. Eleanor closed her eyes. You killed him? Daniel whispered. Clara's expression hardened instantly. Victor destroyed lives. He ruined my father's business. He drove him to suicide. Tears filled her eyes. So I made him feel helpless too. You planned this for years, Ethan said quietly. Yes. Police officers stepped forward. Clara looked directly at Ethan one final time. For one moment, she said, you almost believed it was impossible. Ethan replied calmly, every impossible mystery has one thing in common. What? Someone is lying. Epilogue. 3 months later, Blackstone returned to normal. The newspapers called Ethan Cole, the detective who solved the impossible case. But Ethan knew the truth. No case was truly impossible. Because human beings always leave something behind. A mistake. A fear. A crack in the perfect lie. Late one evening, Ethan sat alone in his office again. Rain tapped softly against the window. Then, a new black folder landed on his desk. No sender. No name. Only a single message written in red ink, this one truly is impossible. Ethan stared at it silently, then smiled. And opened the file.